Thank you for joining me for another Quick Hits conversation. I'm Dr. Robyn. With me today, I have Philip Tate. He is with Tate Strategic Communications, and he is a consultant based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have Alexi Bracey. She's a dementia prevention coach who addresses the problem before it rears its ugly head, and she works primarily with women. Finally, I have Tim Hawks. He is the managing director of Unlimited Potential, where he does executive coaching and is a mental engineer. The question I have for you today, broad brushstroke, what does it mean for life to have meaning? Tim.
I've drawn the short straw here by going first, but I have got something in my head which I'll start off with, and you can either tell me I'm wrong or not. But I do a lot of work with clients, particularly leaders, senior leaders in organizations. And I often find that those people's lives are driven by the vision or the direction of the business or the role that they're in. So, for instance, somebody might be working on a large project and they're fully committed to delivering that project and all that sort of thing. And part of my work is to move them away from that vision being their one thing and having their own. My vision is to leave a legacy of a great project, or leave a legacy of having great kids, or be a millionaire, or whatever it might be. For life to have meaning, it means that your personal agenda is higher up the mental hierarchy than that of anything else.
Okay, I like that.
That's good.
Well done, Tim. There's something similar to that. I was on a webinar yesterday with one of my peers and colleagues, a wonderful lady named Patrice Tanaka. She's the Chief Joy Officer of Joy Planet. Now, she's a PR person and a consultant, and it didn't come up in the same context, but she said her purpose is to love and to be loved. And that drives everything that she does. She worked for a long time in the corporate environment and went out as a consultant, I guess probably 7 or 8 years ago. And so now everything for her is around to love or to be loved and to consult with companies to help them do that. She said for her, the meaning of life involved personal growth and fruitful relationships. And she said at its core, though, that means caring for others, which I thought was kind of a neat answer.
I feel like the meaning of life and for life to have meaning are different things. Maybe I'm mincing words, but I do feel like they're different things. Alexi, I'd love to hear what you think before we go off on that tangent.
Well, for me, meaning with life, I could reframe it a little bit and say, what gives you meaning and purpose? What do you get up for in the morning that you're excited about? A question I ask people that really stumps them is, what do you want to be remembered for when you leave this earth plane? And people go, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a grandmother or grandfather, but who are you going to inspire? What are you going to learn? What are you going to teach? What are you going to hand down? Just so people go, well, yeah, she was really good at, or I learned from her, or she taught my daughter, like there's more to life than just being alive. And unfortunately, people that are employed in a corporate job or in a job, whatever, once they retire, they don't have any meaning anymore. Like, what am I going to do now? I don't have to get the sales up in the company or make corporate decisions. So everybody should have meaning to their life because we're here for a reason, whatever it may be.
So is a really sort of rubbish litmus test of having meaning in life rather than the meaning of life. And I agree. I've just thought it through. I agree with you, Robyn. I don't think they're the same. But is it that when you get to retirement, you still have something to do? Is this sort of what we're talking about? Is like, it's not, what shall I do now? Oh, the garden needs tending, or I'm going to take up something. But more it's a case of I've now got all the time that I had to commit to that purpose I've held for the last 25 years.
If you're an entrepreneur, most entrepreneurs don't retire at a certain age. They keep on going because they like doing what they're doing. But people that, have been employed in that field, all of a sudden, they're not important in that venue anymore because they don't go there every day. So what am I going to do with the rest of my life? You should be doing little steps throughout that gives you meaning in your life.
But so here's the thing, though. I think tending your garden could give your life meaning. So I think for me, when I think about what is the meaning of life, that's legacy and all that big stuff. But my life having meaning means every day I get to get up and say, this is the thing that brings me joy today.
So you're talking about living in the present.
And doing the things that matter. I think the things that give life meaning are the things that create joy. And how often do we actually do that?
I think sometimes we have to remember to pause and look for that meaning. They could be a big moment, but it's those little moments that we remember for years after we experience them. Sometimes we're not even cognizant of it in the moment, but I think those moments are what we remember. And remember, the other thing is that very few people on their deathbed say, hey, I wish I'd spent more time at the office.
Yeah.
But I think also people also will tell you that legacy piece again is they don't remember all the things you did or all the things you accomplished. They remember how you made them feel.
Yep.
And so I think that's something to strive for.
So people also remember mistakes, don't they? Where things go slightly wrong, and if you try to be perfect in the world, you're in danger of being forgotten. So therefore, meaning isn't doing it right necessarily, if meaning is about legacy. Life having meaning, though, being a moment of presence, that I'm really struggling with, because yes, I agree, but it needs to have presence with a sort of future vector, if you like the gardening thing. Now, if I garden all my life with the hope that my roses will come out in 3 years' time and look amazing, that would be meaning to me. But if I was just gardening because I was happy in myself and here I was, look, just comfortable in the moment, is that meaning?
Also, so I said bring joy, but I think also without worry. I think the without worry has an aspect to it too.
But then it's not meaningful if it hasn't been a struggle.
Is that true though? I mean,
I don't know.
Do things have to be hard to be meaningful?
No, they don't.
Not always. I think sometimes you may remember things more fondly because it was a tougher path to get there. But if you get to that finish line, certainly there's a feeling of accomplishment. Again, I think back to all the things. I think about campaigns I've worked on. I think about all the different things, and the things that I remember. I do remember the final work and very proud of that final work. But to Tim's earlier point, you always think about, yeah, but there was that little mistake there. I could have done this better or whatever. But then at the end of that whole process, what you really, at least what I take away, is the moments we had on that shoot, or the things in the edit bay, or how we made the decision to do A versus B. It's those moments, again, that I think really are the takeaways and the things that resonate with me, and maybe that have a little bit stickier quality to them.
I think there's some anticipation too, because I think doing these quick hits give me meaning in a lot of different ways. One, in the process of creating them and picking the topics and putting the people together, and the anticipation of doing them, they give me meaning. Like, they're a lot of fun. But then is there also legacy, so that then, oh, that's part of that too? I don't know. Is there anticipation, lack of worry, and joy? Are those what give life meaning?
In your case of doing these quick hits, you're present in the moment, but you're leaving a legacy for the future. So that links with my idea of meaning is something, you're doing something with a long-term aim. So you're working towards, I don't know, making a fine sculpture, or it might just be gaining greater skills, learning how to speak a language, for instance, because you're sitting down learning the words in the moment, but it has a future trajectory. So for me, that has some comfort about it.
Okay.
When you were talking about joy and meaning in your life, what I do is I approach strangers at the dog park, at the grocery store, at the ATM machine, and I say, can I put a check on your heart? Meaning, can I share a joke? Why a joke? Behind every face, there is a story. And so for 2 minutes, I have a captive audience. It lowers cortisol. It raises endorphins, the feel-good hormones in your brain. They laugh out loud. It feeds my soul. And they may think about it all day and go home and share with their loved ones. So for 2 minutes, they felt important. They forgot their woes. That a stranger took the time to brighten my day, even if it took 2 minutes. So real quick, a 4-year-old girl goes to deliver meals to seniors with her mom that are shut-ins. And the little girl is totally fascinated by all the equipment these seniors have, the wheelchairs, the walkers, the canes. And one day she notices a set of dentures sitting in a glass of water, and she's just mesmerized by it. She keeps on staring at it. And finally she says to her mother, the tooth fairy's never going to believe this one.
That's a good guy.
I love it. I do it to, like I said, to complete strangers. I do it on Zoom calls. I do it with a service provider on the phone, because you don't know what kind of day they've been having and whose voice not very nice words to them. And just to brighten somebody's day up for like 1 minute, and they're going to think about it throughout the day somewhere here and there, or at a cocktail party or whatever. It just so feeds my soul. I tell you, I just love doing it. And my criteria on my deathbed, when people come to say their last goodbye, they have to come with a joke.
And that is a great way to end a 10-minute conversation. Thank you so much for having it with me. I do think that what gives life meaning is a really broad question, and we did a good job in 10 minutes. So thanks so much, and I'll talk to you each again really soon.